Code monkey get up, get coffee. Code monkey go to job. Code monkey have boring meeting with boring manager Rob. Rob say code monkey very diligent, but his output stink. His code not functional or elegant. What do code monkey think? Code monkey think maybe manager wanna write login page himself. Code monkey not say it out loud. Code monkey not crazy, just proud. Code monkey like Fritos. Code monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Code monkey very simple man. Big warm fuzzy secret heart. Code monkey like you. Code monkey like you.
So it's been 6 months since I last talked about one of these movies. It's been 6 months since I discussed a SyFy Channel original film. That is way too long for me to go without talking about one of these movies. And it's also been a full year since I've talked about any sort of movie that had a giant crocodile in it. And truth be told, I completely forgot I even had this movie till I was cleaning up the other day, just kind of cleaning up the Raptor's den, and I found this DVD buried in a pile of other DVDs of things that I just kind of had made a pile of over the time because I hadn't got to putting them away. I remembered I got it years ago at an HMV actually in Canada before they all went out of business, and thought, oh yeah, I really liked this. Or at least, I remember thinking it was cheesy fun, so I threw it on, checked it out, and it's pretty dumb. Like, you cannot expect anything out of a movie literally called Dinocroc versus Supergator. But what you can expect is a good, stupid, cheesy B-movie, and that's pretty much what we get. The story? Well, I found out while looking up this movie just to check a couple stats, it's actually the third in a sort of trilogy. Yeah, it turns out Roger Corman actually made 2 films before this, which were Dinocroc in 2004 and Supergator in 2007. Now, the weird thing, and this is kind of a spoiler for Supergator, the the movie that's over 10 years old now, that was made for the SyFy Channel about a giant alligator. Yeah, the Supergator dies at the end of that one. Gets thrown into a volcano and blown up. The end. Yet this movie begins with both the Dinocroc and the Supergator in a lab somehow, being studied before one of them escapes, before I believe it was the Supergator escapes and goes on a rampage. So, here's the thing. Dinocroc at least ended with the Dinocroc escaping and kind of limping off down the road. You could chalk it up to, well, eventually he was captured, you know, like the military went out and found him because he was too important to not to just let him walk away like that. That and he's a giant, deadly alligator that walks on hind legs like a T-Rex, which admittedly is kind of cool. But here's the thing. There is no reference, no plot point, no mention really at all of the other movies ever happening. Now, I get it. It's a SyFy Channel original movie. I am not going to even begin to try and question how that works because, well, it's a SyFy Channel original movie about a giant crocodile and a giant alligator, like, killing people and then each other eventually. This is the same franchise, technically even the same universe, sort of, that has a film called Piranhaconda. Like, you cannot expect good things out of this. And that really does go for the story. It is the very basic, it's pretty much the plot of Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus, with there's these 2 creatures out there that are killing people. The military spectacularly fails to kill either one of them, and they call in some dude who's supposedly this big, big game hunter who knows what he's doing, love. Yeah, he was Australian in this one too. To try and kill them. And then yada yada yada, it turns out, oh well, they have to turn the 2 creatures on each other and, let them fight to the death, and then we'll go from there because, shut up, we can't really do much else, we couldn't, bring a tank in or something. Regardless, The movie itself, to its credit, does not take itself too seriously. It knows it's dumb, it knows it's stupid. The characters have some pretty bad lines and the acting is pretty dumb, but it's kind of done in a cheesy way. It's that good, unintentionally cheesy kind of acting. In fact, that's the best way to kind of describe this movie, is unintentionally cheesy. Yes, the film can get a little dull in a few spots where they're trying to have these characters discuss their plans or, give backstory as to why they were doing this. Why were they studying a giant crocodile that had dino legs? Or more importantly, how did that dinosaur get crocodile legs? I don't remember Dinocroc that much. It's been years since I watched it. But yeah, regardless, it's harmless. The acting is not good. The only actor in this film who's actually any real credit to his name is David Carradine. Yeah, this was released in 2010. It premiered on the SyFy Channel in 2010, and it was one of his final performances because he had passed away in 2009. And he plays, Drake something or other. I'm just checking here. Jason Drake, the scientist who runs the lab where these giant creatures were being studied and eventually escaped from. He just plays this, he literally is only in 4 scenes, and he just takes heart medication with alcohol, complains about, we should have killed these things, I'm an idiot for letting them live, which, yeah, you kinda are, and that's about it. The rest of the actors, we have Corey Landis, Amy Rasmus, Rib Hills, John Gahalan, and Delilah Shepard, and Jerry Hess. Now, out of those 6 names, 3 of them have a Wikipedia page with something on it to give anything about them. The other 3 have nothing. So, look, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This movie is not a well-made movie. It's a SyFy Channel movie produced by Roger Corman. It's the same guy who did Sharktopus. The special effects look about as good as Sharktopus. I mean, look at the screen right now. This is pretty much what you're looking at the entire film. But I will give them some credit. The Dinocroc's design is actually kind of cool. The idea of a crocodile walking on its hind legs with 2 arms to grab and eat people with, I'll give them credit, that's a fun idea. Overall, there's not really much else to say. The camera work is fine, although oddly I do remember this. There were a couple scenes that either were not shot fully in focus or were somewhat overexposed. So technically, the film's competent, but there were a few mistakes. So, point against it, I guess. Overall, though, I can recommend Dinocroc vs. Supergator Dino Dudes. It is a dumb movie. A very dumb movie. But it's also a fun dumb movie. Because we have movies that tie into this like Sharktopus, Dino Shark. They're dumb, but they're also fun. They don't take themselves too seriously, and really, you shouldn't take them too seriously either. I'm giving Dinocroc vs. Supergator a 3 Raptor Claws out of 4 for entertainment, and a 1.5 out of 4 for quality, which is only fair. The movie is fun, and actually, it's not like with Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus when they just have one animation for them fighting and just loop it or turn it around or rotate it. They actually do animate these 2 creatures fighting. And the CG is terrible. It does look like a poorly made PS1 game from the 90s, but you're kinda not there for great effects. You're there just to laugh at the bad effects and the bad acting and the bad writing, and you're there it's a good movie just to kill time with. Pretty much, it's a film I would totally throw on in the background while I was working or writing or drawing or gaming or something. If I would sit down and pay attention to it, but at the same time, you don't need to pay attention to it. It's dumb, but it's also harmless. And that's the best way to describe it. Anyhow, Dino Dudes, I'm sorry I've been behind on getting actual reviews out because I've been working on the Combat Corner. I've been working on a couple actual video game reviews that are going to be much bigger. But you know what? I wanted to get a review out of just me going back to basics. I've been watching a bunch of SyFy Channel movies, so you can expect more reviews in the future. And with that being said, Dino Dudes, until next time, this is the Meteor Raptor saying keep cool, and I'll see you dudes around. Later.